So it looks like the market is finally beginning to show signs of recovery or a lot of buying pressure, and this is something that I'm very excited to follow up with. What's going on, team? It's Ricky with Techbit Solutions. The market is killing it. A lot of that credit has to go to Tesla and its overall performance. Tesla itself is up nearly 10% on the day. It's up to $8.15 a share. And one of the things that I want to remind you is, again, I don't just like to talk about my winners. I like to talk about my losers. It's not necessarily that I lost money on Tesla. I decided to reduce my position size from $140,000 and I reduced it in half. I didn't know how this earnings report was going to be. And my idea of reducing position size during uncertain times was my main priority. So I still had a decent amount in Tesla even when it did begin to push up. I have not bought more of Tesla just yet. I want to see how it performs today just to see if it's just overreacting to the earnings that it just reported. This is sometimes something that we experience, and or if this is actually going to begin to show signs of a recovery. So I'm trying to stay very patient. But one of the things that I like to admit is anytime that I am wrong in the sense of I chose to reduce my position size because of uncertainty, it went up and I missed out on $75,000 additionally being invested in Tesla instead of just having 75K, right? So in total, I could have had closer to 140, 150K, but I just decided to play it safe. I still think that the habit of playing it safe was in my best interest, just based off of the previous 7 months and previous quarters. With that being said, again, I need to make sure that I make you guys aware of both the good and the bad, and just keeping you guys up to date. But why is Tesla performing the way that it is, right? So after Tesla reported earnings, it gapped up about 4% for a very short period of time. Yes, it did beat revenue expectations barely, and yes, it did beat earnings per share. That was a significant beat on that one, right? I think it was almost like a 40 to 50%. Percentage-wise, it beat EPS by. One of the big announcements that Tesla announced during its guidance call, right? So it reported its earnings about 10 minutes after the market closed. We caught that within our live stream. And then they had an earnings call about an hour and a half after. That was very, very important. That's when Tesla began to pick back up, and then the buying pressure really began to pick up right at market open. Tesla began to go up because of what it shared, right? It is building that Tesla factory, and or it's already constructed. It is supposed to be and really alleviate a lot of the pressure that the Shanghai plant had. To my understanding, the Berlin plant the Berlin Gigafactory that Tesla has is set to be able to make produce 1,000 vehicles per week. In a couple of months, they expect that that Texas location to be able to do the same as well. That would make it be able to keep up with the demand and orders that Tesla has not been able to fulfill as efficiently as COVID restrictions began to rise in their Shanghai plant. You guys remember that during Q2, their Shanghai plant, which Tesla has a gigafactory in Shanghai, China, they had to shut down for a couple of weeks. Imagine running a company and your most efficient, your most productive factory gets shut down because of COVID restrictions. So again, the scramble began. This is why there was such low expectations for Tesla for their Q2 of 2022. They ended up beating that expectation, and a big announcement that they also shared that a lot of people are kind of rubbed the wrong way on is Tesla sold 75% of its $1.5 billion it had invested in Bitcoin. And the reason why, obviously, this is an added value to investors, but for all the Bitcoin people or crypto people, it's kind of like a stab in the back, right? The reason why is because Elon once said that, Tesla has diamond hands in the sense or insinuating that they will never sell. Supposedly they haven't sold Dogecoin, but they've sold 75% of their Bitcoin. And the reason why is due to the uncertainty and the COVID restrictions in China. It is in their best interest, their company's best interest, to have cash in hand. So by selling 75%, to my understanding, that's $936 million. $936 million that they add to their balance sheet. And again, during uncertain times, it is in their best interest to have cash. So I understand why they did it. But again, it's just when Elon goes out of his way, as a joke maybe, and comments on having diamond hands, I know that a lot of crypto people get very offended when you say one thing and then do another, right? So I'm just excited to follow up. It looks like they're trying to put themselves in a good position for uncertain, during uncertain times. But the only thing that I have to say about Tesla right now is the thing that I'm looking at is Tesla going to, because it's going to pull back at one point or another, right? Because it's reacting this way due to its earnings. And this is one thing that we know of Tesla is when Tesla takes off, it does really well in taking off. It has a lot of momentum. But when it does pull back, all I'm looking for is that when it does pull back, that it doesn't go as low as it did before. I don't want it selling back off to 750. I think if it holds around, the 775 range, something where it begins to show signs of higher lows, this upward staircase pattern would be a step in the right direction. My intention is to invest in Tesla. So therefore, all I want it to show me is that it can sustain and or hold at higher levels. Based off of previous patterns, it hasn't been able to do so, right? If we look at this on the 1 hour, let's go ahead and look at it actually on the day chart. We could see how aggressive it's been selling off. We talked about it a couple of days ago that it was beginning to trade sideways, showing signs of a support, but because of its earnings, I said, again, I'm choosing to be careful. Now it's pushing up, so all I'm looking for is when it does retrace back, as long as it doesn't go as low as it has in the past before, then that's a step in the right direction. And that's what I wanted to remind you, that pullbacks should not scare you, especially if you're a long-term investor. Pullbacks are going to happen. Red days are going to happen. There is no such thing as consistent green days every single day when you're invested in something. You can't want all of the good and accept none of the bad. But it's like a staircase pattern, right? When it begins to go up, there are pullbacks along the way. You just have to make sure that you're effective enough with your position size that you can tolerate it. And the same thing for TQQQ. We're now trading at $31 a share. If we look at TQQQ on the day chart, we are now trading above the EMA line. This is something that we have not been able to do in the past, really, year. We did do it once back in March, and then Russia attacked Ukraine. We sold off. But ever since then, as long as things don't get worse, then maybe this can be a pivotal moment where the market can actually begin to recover. The last thing that I want to share with you is how much margin all of these stocks have for recovery potential. The reason I say that is to remind you that you do not have to rush into buying a very heavy position right now. If you want to, great. You're an adult, all power to you. But I know that if you rush into, at least in my experience, if you rush into buying very aggressively in the beginning, and let's say things begin to go south, let's say that the Federal Reserve next week raises interest rates more aggressive than we expected, anything, right, can cause the market to drop right back down. So don't think that as soon as we have one green week that the market's going to recover and then just go all in and then put yourself in a very, very risky position in the sense that if anything goes wrong, are you going to be able to tolerate that red day or the red week or the red month? Put yourself in a position in which you can tolerate the time that it will take for that stock to recover. That's all we're ever here to encourage you to do, is to look out for your future self. But as of right now, all I have to say is that all of these stocks are really struggling to pull back, which is showing great momentum and great progress for TQQQ, for Tesla, for Amazon, for Apple, for everything. So momentum is in our favor. As of right now, I would be very careful with shorting, but I would really take into consideration your position size just in case if the market does choose to pull back after the hype dies out for Tesla's earnings. Then again, just make sure that you can tolerate that position. So one of the last things that I do want to remind you is, again, I was thinking of live streaming this up and coming earnings report that is set to be released tomorrow. I don't know if you guys want me to continue to live stream these earning reports. We also have another one today, if I'm not mistaken. It's actually Snapchat that reports earnings after market closes. I'd be more than happy to do so. It's up to you guys. You guys can let me know down in the comment section, or if you get this video to over 1,000 likes, then I can host that live stream. I just want to make sure enough people end up showing up. So I appreciate you guys' time. Friendly reminder, if you guys want the ability to be able to watch me trade live every morning, the second link down below is our Learn Plan Profit group. I encourage you, if you've ever wanted to see what it's like to watch me trade live, click that second link, learn a little bit more about our group, and see if it's a good fit for you. Also, for our Tech Buds staycation, it's still going on. It ends August 7th, and we are giving away free flags today. So with every purchase of a mouse pad, add your favorite flag, and you get the flag for free at checkout automatically, no coupon code needed. Again, that's at shoptechbuds.com, or click the fourth link in the description. And there it goes, already making higher lows. Again, a super bullish day. Conditions today, you guys always hear me talk about the example of make sure that conditions are in your favor when you choose to trade. You guys know what conditions are bad conditions to trade in, right? When the market's choppy, when the market doesn't have a clear direction. Today is a perfect example of, if you're under the PD2 rule, why to be selective, to wait for days like this to present themselves, where it's still not easy, but it's much easier to make money because conditions and direction are in your favor. I think today is an amazing example for that. I hope that I earned your thumbs up. Maybe I'll see you until today's live session for Snapchat's earnings. Please consider subscribing. And like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.